All right, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Test. Testing 1, 2, testing 1, 2. Three and 5.
Now, Swamp Sessions. Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser's unfiltered reaction to today's Gators game. Driven by Atlantic Infinity, North Florida's #1 Infinity retailer. Live from Voodoo Brewing Company in San Marco.
Swamp Sessions here tonight. It's appropriate that it's Halloween. And Florida Georgia just wrapping up 4-point loss for the Gators. It's appropriate that it's Halloween because I feel like I just went trick or I just feel like I went. Just turn it back. Turn me all the way down. There we go. I feel like I went. You know what we are right now? We're a Billy Napier offense. All my feedback has to go out. I don't know which one is which. Just turn them all to. That's perfect. There we go. Yeah. In the business, we call that mix minus. Go behind the curtain here. I feel like I just went trick-or-treating from this standpoint. I walked up in my Gator costume, and I was feeling good, and I knocked on the door. Lovely young lady, lovely woman came to the door. I could see the candy. It was mounded over the top of her bucket. You know, it was good. I see some of my favorite candies there. I'm ready to hit the mother load here. What a Halloween. And she reaches down in there, and she grabs me a box of raisins. Here you go, kid. Put that in the pumpkin. That's what it feels like. I will say this. Let's take our pulse, Gator Nation. We've come in here really almost since the beginning this year, and it's been a walk of shame. Losing at home to USF. Not, falling apart at Miami, penalties and poor performances and double-digit losses week after week after week. I walked in here today with a loss, but at least it's transitioned to disappointment. You feel me? I'm not mad. Like, I've just been mad all football season. The way they performed, this nebulous coaching situation we've been under, and the anger is gone. And the program is going to get pointed in the right direction. We'll get the right coach in here that can finish off a game like today, hopefully. But kudos to Billy Gonzalez and his staff. Kind of an odd setup where Russ Callahan is the offensive coordinator, but Ryan O'Hara was the actual play caller. I suppose that if we were vetting guys that were going to be in charge of this football program for the next however many years, we could pick apart some of these calls down the stretch. I'm not sure I disagreed, for instance, going 4th and 1. Don't think I like the play call, especially after the line shift. But it is what it is. It's more disappointment today for a game that, man, they were just right there. These guys fight, by the way. You see that receiving core by the end of the day? There's no Vernell Brown to start. Dallas Wilson gets hurt. Oh, by the way, somebody could shoot a text to Billy or maybe tweet Billy that, apparently Trey Wilson's still on the roster. So, that'd be nice. Just let Billy know that Eugene Wilson III is doing just fine. He's still on the roster and apparently still have a heck of a playmaker. We just, haven't seen him all year. So, he stepped up big today. There was a lot about today's game to like, and we'll get to the very end here in a second. But Georgia scores on their opening drive. Don't like it. The defense handles them the second time around. The offense answers. Lagway shows off that arm talent we haven't seen. Or I haven't seen enough of this year. He hits Trey Wilson at 7-7. They get a bounce-back score. Defense forces a turnover. Man, you'd like to have that 3rd and goal payoff and a touchdown. Could have been a different game situation. But at the same time, I like a guy settling for points. We got momentum. We've got the 7-all tie. We forced the turnover. You get points out of it. You take the lead. Couple of review plays today that didn't go Florida's way. Obviously, the Gunnar Stockton incompletion. Look, let's be honest. Probably was an incompletion. Had he lost the ball by the time it actually went forward, probably, but it looked like his arm had probably gone forward. So we go to half, tied 10-10, thanks to Florida answering. Had to answer for that 7-0. An interim coach coming out of the gates down 7-0. I'll remind you, in the history of this rivalry, an unranked Florida-Georgia has never beaten Florida or Georgia, who's ranked in the top 5. So historical odds way stacked against this Florida team going in with injury issues in addition. But that, what was initially ruled a fumble recovery for Florida, gives Georgia the chance to go 10-10 into the locker room. Again, we have a bounce-back situation in the second half. Can't get anything going on the first drive. Georgia scores a touchdown. And, again, you can't help but get this feeling, okay, we played hard. Georgia takes over. And again, Florida answers. They hit a big play. DJ Lagway, by the way, I think we've learned one thing about his, quote, mobility. He's pretty good straight ahead. He looks like a different guy when he gets going straight ahead. When he gets going lateral, he's like an 80-year-old woman, man, with a walker. So laterally, there's not much there with DJ Lagway, but I think we saw a couple times today that he found a lane that called a couple of quarterback draws. I thought the play calling was an improvement. I'm not going to lie. We've had a coach for 3.5 years, and I thought a guy stepped in the first game when it came to downfield targets, guys running open, a little more creativity, the quarterback draw we saw. I wish that we could see that same urgency from DJ when he keeps the ball on the run-pass option. He always comes out of that a little slow. That play didn't work today. They had it drawn up a couple of times. But Florida, down 17-10, they answer again. Impressive how they did that, coming up off the mat today. Then they add the field goal. It's 2017. And this is the play that we would be talking about if this were 6-1 versus 6-1. You have a 20-17 lead. You're 4th and 1 in, 18-yard line. What do you do? What do you do there? Now, you're not 6-1 and 6-1. You're 3-4 with an interim coach against the number 5 team in the country. I didn't have a problem going for it there. Points and a 6-point lead would have been nice, but the same logic that you would use to protect a 6-point lead, our defense can hold them. You can also apply to, if we turn the ball over here on downs, the defense can hold them and you're fine. The killer was letting the 36-yard run bust off for the touchdown and give Georgia a 4-point lead. And then the other review that will be memorable. And, look, if you don't know, for instance, if you're local here, you're lapping up swamp sessions each and every week, you know we're based in Jacksonville. My cohort, Dan Hicken, does TV as well. He's at the game tonight. I was hoping he'd be getting a champagne bath right now in the Gator locker room, but instead he's probably over there somber and cranky. But, living here in Jacksonville, you get a different feel for the game, for one thing. You're more in tune with these big moments and plays that happen every year right here in your backyard. And up 20-17 and a chance to get a first down and maybe salt away that game. I think it was a risk worth taking for Billy Gonzalez. I don't think this will be looked at as, some terrible game time decision. But, okay, back to Jacksonville and the replay that didn't go their way when J. Michael Sturdivant got behind the defense. If he doesn't slip, forget the replay and what we think it might be. I'm a Gator. It's a catch, 100%. He caught it, hit his forearm, bounced into him. Replay is broken. That's a whole other podcast. We can spend an hour and a half on such an easy fix to replay that the smartest people in the world can't figure out, and that's this. You send the play to the booth. Don't even let them watch the game. Put the replay officials in an isolation booth. And when there's a play that matters, don't tell them what the call on the field was. Send them the replay and let them decide. Because this ridiculousness of you have to overturn something that's wrong is So stupid. Replay is broken. I think Sturdivant caught the ball. I really do. I think it hit his forearm, and that changed the kind of – it was coming out on a point. I think it turned it sideways. But because they've got the fail-safe of the call on the field, they didn't overturn it. But, man, forget the replay if he doesn't slip coming back for the ball. And I would also wonder if you're Sturdivant, bro, just how far downfield are you going to run? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe we could have stopped 15 yards behind the defense instead of the 30 that we got to. I'm not going to quibble. DJ was rolling out to his left. He didn't get quite enough on the football. It went to replay, honest to goodness, and this is why replay's broken. The same play can't happen and have two different outcomes. But sure as sugar, if they had called it a completed pass, they'd have sent it upstairs, and it would have come down. The call on the field is upheld. So tell me a system's not broken that can take the same play and give you two different, what they call truthful answers. And you don't correct or wrong. It doesn't have to be like eye-poppingly obvious. If it's that, there's not a replay to begin with. You know, those plays, they can do that on the field. But I think that they got really burdened by the call having been incorrect to begin with. So, you know, is what it is. They hit that play. Who knows? Then they decide to go for it 4th and 4. That one I'm not so cool with. You got 3 timeouts. Kick it deep and try and play defense and you know, get the ball back one more time. If you turn it over on downs as they did, ultimately Georgia ran the clock out. I will say this about Kirby Smart. We know this. He doesn't bet the dogs in Vegas. They were given 7.5 up 4 there at the 4-yard line, and he gracefully, mercifully took the knee there, and Georgia wins. Georgia wins by 4. So where does this leave you? Look, this is where I am. Let's go win 3 out of 4 and go to the bowl game. Let's do that. Let's get some momentum for the next coach who takes over at the University of Florida. The Gators are supposed to play football like they did today. Now, you'd like to win the games, right? And maybe just by the outcome, by the final score, Billy Napier could claim a lot of games like that. It didn't feel like a Billy Napier slop fest game. I didn't see 41 penalties. I didn't have delay of games. I saw a football team that was ready. They didn't always execute. The plays didn't always happen. But I credit to Gator Nation. You have stood behind this football team, a hard-working team. They play hard, man. They don't quit. They are ravaged by injuries week to week. And next man up keeps performing as good as they can. We are not prepared to stand toe-to-toe and beat a top-5 team because we have not had a coach who has prepared us with the talent, the wherewithal, and the conditioning to win those games. That has to be infused with the next head coach. You got to go into this game thinking that you're on par, not that the players didn't, but we all know we're not. We're 3-5 for the second time in 45 years. That's where we are. So games left at Kentucky next week, a game with Tennessee at home, a game at Ole Miss, and a game against those losers from Tallahassee to end the season. Let's go 3-1 to go to a bowl game. Let's get some momentum for the next coach to take this program where it belongs. There's too much talent on that field for you to not tell a difference between the coach you had and the interim who's had about 10 days to get them ready. Today's group wasn't perfect, didn't win the game. They looked a lot more in control of themselves than we've looked for 3.5 years. So let's build off of that. Let's pick up first things first, a road win at Kentucky. Let's get DJ Lagway right. Let's get the right coach into Gainesville to keep the right core of players and bring his style of portal or NIL or whatever it is. And when we return to Jacksonville in, 3 years? Okay, when we return to Jacksonville then, let's let Florida be number 5 in the country like God intended us to be. All right. Dan and I have talked this coaching search with you since Coach Doofus lost to USF. I don't have to take maybe a show of hands. I mean, it seems if it's not unanimous, I don't know, except maybe going back to Coach Spurrier when he was hired. I don't know if there's been such unanimity among the fan base that Lane Kiffin is the guy. All right, so a couple things on Lane Kiffin. This isn't baby Kiffin. The bar hopping, hungover, immature, mercurial talent. This isn't him. This is grown-up Lane, who, by the way, has reconciled with his former wife, Layla Kiffin. Y'all knew this? Am I the last one to this party? Like, they've reconciled. She's moved back. So that's a serious Gator tie. I mean, Lane Kiffin's wife is John Reeves' daughter. I mean, that's not to be diminished at all in this whole coaching search. Did you also see what Lane Kiffin did with his Halloween post last night? So what is the actual what's the actual little catchphrase? What's the little 2-word catchphrase? What's the little 2-word little catchphrase that Billy used and then Lane, what is it? Spot ball. Spot the ball. So Billy, I don't know, somewhere along the way on Twitter would put spot the ball. Well, Lane Kiffin does a Halloween post last night, and he captions it, spot the ball. This man's troll game is top class, and I just don't know. I don't know Lane well enough. He spent time here in Jacksonville, actually, with the Jaguars. I don't know him well enough to know, but that feels like a move that you only make if you're seriously considering going there. I don't want to read too much into it. I will at this stage. I'll be disappointed if it's not Lane Kiffin. Now, I'm not going to be devastated as long as they get the right guy. I still don't trust the AD that we have down there. Now, I don't expect our governor to fire the AD like has happened in some other SEC locales. But I want Lane Kiffin. I think he's the perfect combination of swag and talent and game plan and football mind and more recently success that can do in Gainesville what needs to be done in Gainesville. It's been a long time since we've tasted the kind of success we need to. That's 5 straight losses against Georgia here in Jacksonville. It's not a worse city to live in as a Gator than Jacksonville, Florida, on this last Saturday in October when they come woofing down here and beat you. And I'll say this, too, to all my Georgia, we live here in Jacksonville, as I said, so there's a lot of Georgia, Florida, carryover and crossover, a lot more Florida than Georgia. But to all my Georgia friends who want to come up and, and give me an attaboy and we'll be good, I'd like to extend to all of you, not an olive branch, but a middle finger. Go home. Either go home here in Jacksonville or go home back to Georgia. I don't care to hear you comment on the state of my program or the attaboy try that the Orange and Blue gave them tonight. So, listen, we're back full staff for Swamp Sessions next week. Think we kind of hit the highs and lows of what happened today. There were plays within the game. T.J. Abrams had a drop on 3rd and 4. That felt like that could have been important. I thought that Garrett Stockton was very sketchy. I thought he made Georgia beatable today. Florida in the second half of the game, they were dominating the game until the 4th and 1 stop changed the momentum. And Georgia had I think, 60 yards in the second half, and the 4th and 1 turnover. And again, I'm okay with the call. I don't know if I like the play call per se, but they took that drive 82 yards. That's more yards than they had the whole quarter. And so it was that close. It was that close, and unlike weeks past, I'll kind of finish it like I started it. It's been a walk of shame in here for 8 weeks. Just embarrassed and pissed off, quite frankly, at the state of the program. Today, at least, it's disappointment. Disappointed they didn't win. They were close. I knocked on the door. They came with a big bucket of candy. I saw all my favorites on top, and she reached in and she grabbed the raisins, baby. It's a raisin game. That's Swamp Sessions. We'll see you next week.
Catch Swamp Sessions with Dan and Jeff after every Gators game live from Voodoo Brewing Company, driven by Atlantic Infinity. This one is done.